Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, I'm going to be joined by my friend Veiled Shot. I've already done a video on my channel going over the patch notes word for word. What we're going to do here is just have a casual hangout discussion and give you our thoughts, kind of talking back and forth about what we think. So let's get into it. Alrighty, how you doing today, Veiled Shot? It's patch day.
Yeah, actually better than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. So that's good.
Yeah, I kind of had that sentiment mostly in my patch coverage video. Compared to what I thought we were gonna get, I was giving it like an 8 out of 10. Not a home run, not the most amazing thing I could have seen. But based on what I thought, getting 36 new legendaries and class change being implemented way better than I thought it would be, and getting more consistent events and people having more access to not only eternal crests or legendary crests, but they're actually eternal crests, was kind of my first impressions. What were you kind of thinking when you ran through it first?
Yeah, one, I'm kind of excited to see the hero's journey. I mean, it only shows a screenshot of chapter 3, so I don't know how long it's going to take, but could be a nice little bonus there. And then I really want to see if they will continue this event spree. Like we have an event from July 20th to the August 3rd, and then immediately during that time we have a July 29th to 31st event. So if they keep that rolling, I'm actually really excited to have like regular events in the game, kind of like Raid does. So definitely want to see more of that.
Oh yeah, regular events are an absolute must in the mobile industry at this point. You've got to keep it fresh. There's too much competition out there. People's attention spans are too low. If they get bored in game, they start loading up other games. You lose your players. So yeah, they need for sure consistent stuff. What else stood out to you? We'll just kind of dive into each one as you kind of tell me what your first reactions were.
Yeah, so we had all the events, which is really nice. The biggest thing, right as soon as I started reading the patch notes, boom, free class change every week. That is actually really nice to see. I'm really glad that free to play players have access to the class change. I think that would have lost a lot of people if they monetized it in some way. But and I'm surprised that they didn't, because that seems like an easy way. Hey, you can class change for free every 6 months or whatever. But if you want to do it every week, you got to pay $5. But they made it free and it's weekly, so I'm sure a lot of people, I know people that I personally are going to take advantage of that system. I'm sure that a lot of people actually really enjoy farming the legendary items. So that's not even a downside for people. They're like, I want to go unlock everything again because it's like dopamine rush again. So it's actually an advantage for some people. I know for me, I'm a little disappointed at that, but overall, really interesting that it's free for the class change.
Yeah, I thought for sure they were going to monetize it. I thought they were going to do exactly what you said. It's going to be like once every 1 or 3 months for free, but you can do it as often as you want if you're willing to pay. I thought it would be some sort of a resource in game that they would have added, like the Dawning Echo or whatever, to awaken an item. I thought they were going to sell like a class reset type of thing, and then when you click on it, it'll back you out as like some premium currency you can buy with eternal orbs. I'm shocked they didn't monetize it, and I'm shocked it's once a week, because in the early days of Diablo Immortal, they kind of said that they wanted your class choice to be a very significant part of your identity, and I wanted it to be very impactful. So to then let people switch every week is really surprising. Also, you mentioned the essence and keeping things like the legendaries you have farmed. If I swap from Demon Hunter to Crusader and I start farming the Crusader legendaries to get all the essences on my account, do I keep all my Demon Hunter essences, or does my account like reset and switch to Crusader?
Actually, you know what? That's actually really interesting, because one thing they have is that free kind of undo button. So we can kind of experiment with it a little bit. But yeah, that's a good point. Like, what happens if, okay, first week you're playing your main class, you farm all your legendaries. Next week you farm 90% of the Demon Hunter ones. The following week you're like, I want to go back to Crusader. Do you have all the legendary items unlocked still? What they did say is that you could kind of pull your gear off. My guess is that you could actually pull your legendary gear off, store it in the stash, and then you'll get a whole new set of gear from your Demon Hunter. So you could try that. But overall, that's actually a good point. I didn't even think about whether or not you kind of collect all the classes legendary items. That's interesting. Definitely something that we'll have to test over the next couple of months because it will take that amount of time.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to wait until like one of our friends or teammates or we see people changing and then see what it looks like from their end. Are you going to change classes at all?
So I'm a little scared because I want to try it, but I would probably take advantage of the free undo button that they said they have. But I I just I think the other class would be more fun for me. But Crusader is just so like needed everywhere. And then on top of that, I think it'd be like a week before I could even do anything because the legendary items weren't there. So if I wanted to do Rite of Exile, if I wanted to participate in dungeon farming or anything, I would be so much weaker because I would have no legendary items. You could get like maybe half of them in a day because of how all of them say you have to unlock, but it's going to take weeks to get all of them for
Well,
sure.
but didn't they say you're gonna basically keep your combat rating? Because didn't it say on here that you get placeholder items that, yeah, placeholder gear will have an equivalent rank. Now, rank, I don't know exactly what that means. Rank could mean
Yeah.
like gear score, which is not always combat rating. Will it have the same attributes? Like, we don't know exactly.
Yeah. That's what I get. So people say rank, and some people interpret that as, oh, you get the same combat rating. The way I interpreted it was the same level, but it's a yellow item, which means it's going to be way worse than your legendary items. So my guess is that you'll lose about 400 or 500 combat rating, at least for me, just swapping. And that's like a huge downside. It's going to take me a while to get all that back. Because remember, you definitely don't have any legendary items. So all the triple stats that I farmed, have to refarm all those again. No doubt. The set items I might be able to keep, but not the legendary items for sure. I don't know. They didn't really specify set items versus legendary items.
So when would be the best time to switch? It'd probably be like right after your server's immortal fight switches, like right after you win or lose immortals. Um
Mhm.
and when you are at a place where you're crushing the current content, but you're not quite ready to move into that next hell phase. So like let's say you're crushing hell 2, but you're not close to switching to hell 3 yet. That'd be a good opportunity to maybe think about switching because you'd have a couple weeks to catch up and prepare. And even if you like you're farming hell 3 right now, if you lost
Yep.
400 combat rating, you would still be okay. Like you could still keep
Yep.
farming hell 3.
Yeah, and honestly, there's not a lot of people able to farm Hell 4. I'm about the level where I could farm Hell 4 at this point, but it would be impossible to find a party. So I would say actually tomorrow is a really good time for a lot of people to class change, simply for the fact that a lot of people have already broken into Hell 3. They farmed up some of their gear. Then supposedly you're going to get a comparable amount of gear when you swap. And then you'll just be able to run back into Hell 3. And we're pretty far away from Paragon 150. We're still about a month out. So you got a lot of time to kind of make up your combat rating over the next couple of weeks. So it's coming out at a really good time, but for the future, definitely. But for those of you that are being competitive, you don't want to swap and then run into your battleground matches or your Rite of Exile with 400 less combat rating and a bunch less stats and not all your legendary items. That'll be a disaster.
Yep. So maybe if you did, you would probably wait until, because right now we're shadows, so you would probably wait until we win immortal and then think about it,
Yeah,
or
probably. Yeah. I'm going to try to level up an alt and see if I can try it out there, like just class change, see what it's like. But definitely don't want to try it on my main. Just avoid any bugs or any mishaps or anything like that. Don't want that to happen.
yeah, that would be pretty brutal. Well, what do you want to dive into next? What was the other thing that stood out to you?
I would say that the biggest thing for me, the two other biggest things for me are first off legendary items. I haven't really dove into all of the ones for different classes. I know I just before this I was like going through the Demon Hunter one because that's my new favorite class to play, and I've seen a few cool ones like Murder Most, but there's a lot of multipliers and a lot of percentages that we're missing out on. I know on Crusader, they've have a legendary item that modifies your consecration to give you damage reduction, but it says X percent. If that's 50%, that's insane, but if it's 10%, it's like, okay, well, not super great.
Yeah, that's the problem with patch notes like this. Like they why do they put that? Like, because it's not even like it's gonna change. It's not like a legendary gem, like where it changes. It's like the legendary item drops, and you know what the percentage is. So I don't know why it's not there.
Interesting thought. Maybe, for example, like the consecration or the murder most, maybe that scales off of your stat, like your damage in life, because I know the skill damage does. So maybe they're saying, okay, the more life you have, the more you protect your party members, or for Demon Hunter, the more damage you have, the more critical strike chance you have, or something. Maybe that's what's going on here.
Yep.
But definitely need more information before you kind of say, oh, this is going to be insane. But definitely fun for sure. Some of these look really, really cool, really, really fun, especially for the monk. Actually, I read through that one a brief amount, and that people said that that's like the big winner of the patch is the monk, and I could see it. I could see a lot of really, really advantageous stuff for the monk. Really excited to see them.
Yeah, admittedly, monk's probably the class I know the least about. But yeah, for like some of the stuff definitely looks cool. But another thing is we don't know what slot some of the stuff is in.
Mm-hmm.
Like endless trial. I mean, is that a helm? Is that a chest armor? Is that pants? Like, so it's a little bit hard to figure out how different, because like going back to the demon hunter, the murder most. I mean, that's probably a weapon. I would assume it sounds like a weapon, but like obviously this is going to be ridiculous. Like your crit strike chance, that's awesome for a demon hunter. You're trying to crank out damage, but I don't know what slot that's going to go in terms of like affecting a build.
Yeah, and on your point, it's like if it's a main hand, then you're going to lose the hunger, which means your base not going to pierce, and that could be not good enough. You know, you may want the piercing basic when you're open world farming, when you're dungeon farming, but then you may want to run murder most in PvP, but it's not going to be a for sure because of the slot. And I know I have legendary items on the Crusader just like that. Like if I have to take off my banner, my arrow keeper, the one that puts my banner on the back, well, that slot's basically always going to be that item. So if one of these items is going to be in that slot, probably never going to use it. So
Yeah.
definitely need to know which slot it's in for sure.
So while I've got you here as a knowledgeable Crusader, what did you think about this for anybody watching that plays Crusader?
I would say that the one thing that I want to know about is Daybreak Consecration. The thing that's really interesting about this is because with this, we now have a build where we can run 3 support skills and then horse. So now we could run banner, we can run the damage immunity, like just pure damage immunity, and then put down damage reduction. So now we just have pure support Crusader builds with this possibility. And then we have a bunch of ones that are like more focusing on damage and sort of things that are hard to rate without seeing the multipliers in game, but definitely something that's a little bit more interesting. And I will say the one that I'm most excited about outside of the Daybreak is the one that makes Condemn instantly detonate on the singular enemy. So before, this is like a channeled skill and it would slowly charge up and then you pop it. But with this, you just run at someone and it hits them with all the damage. So you could have like a burst Crusader build with banner, and then this critting, it could do like 20k damage on someone. I could see this doing, depending on how the multipliers roll out, but definitely a very interesting one there.
Okay, cool. And for me, I would say from a demon hunter's perspective, the one that stands out to me the most is definitely the Vengeance. The Vengeance crit chance has the potential to be ridiculous. Smokescreen could be cool to get a dot for like farming content, PvE, but Smokescreen's not really nowhere near as common as Vengeance in terms of being in every build or anything. The Impale Bleed could be fun for something like Shadow War. When you're like pumping that into an immortal, Impale does decent single target, and then if you could also add a bleed to it, it's got potential to be good for a demon hunter in Shadow War, and demon hunters already do really well in Shadow War. The escape change is going to be not that great, I don't think, in terms of launching rockets at nearby enemies when activated. They'll be I do think it might be fun to do the pinpoint multi-shot.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask. That's the other one I wanted to ask about, because in dungeons, you have a one all monster, right? You all your multi shot just unloading on someone. I want to see how that works.
Yeah, I think that because and multi-shot's also one of those like vengeance. It's in a lot of Demon Hunter builds. So
Hmm.
I could see that being kind of fun and look kind of cool and really help multi-shot bring a lot more value in a like Rift Guardian or a dungeon boss or I imagine PvP. Like instead of your multi-shot being half the screen, it just locks onto an enemy and bursts them down. Could be super cool.
Yeah, that could be insane. Actually, you have a Crusader running at you and you just dump all your arrows
That's
into them,
right.
and
No more
that
hunting
would
me
be
down,
insane.
Veiled. I'm coming.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the last thing that was impressive to me is the fact that this is the first major. This is the first patch, in my opinion. This stuff for like hot fixes is what I would call them, and they're immediately changing the potential free to play. They, in my opinion, they revived dead content, which was the Warband raid. You did it once, it was over, and now it's a weekly thing where you get eternal legendary crests, and then you have the fading ember cap increase, and that to me sets a precedent where hey, like yeah, it's bad, but we're willing to change it, especially since this is the first patch.
Yeah, would you expand a little bit on the fading ember cap and why that's and then I'll let you know how I think according to what you say.
Yeah, so the big thing for the fading ember was that you go and you do your all the rifts, you get fading ember so you can craft runes. Now, from what I understand, the random 1 to 5 star was an bound craft. So when you crafted it, you got a bound gem. The 2 and the 1 star gems were unbound, but I think a lot of people have this mistake that it's a bound gem or an unbound gem, where it's really a bound gem. And this eternal legendary crest that you can trade in runes for, trade your legendary gem now, along with the fading ember cap increasing, basically changes the amount of time that you have to farm that craft or that legendary crest from 10 days to about 7. So it basically shaved off about 3 days of farming, a little bit more for the free to play, assuming you're capping this out every week. So it's much more, you could say, less awkward. Instead of 10 days, it's a weekly thing, but definitely a huge improvement in terms of regular income for free to play.
Yeah, and the eternal word is what really stands out. Because some people get confused when they're newer to the game on the 2 different legendary crests. So I really like that some of these changes here are eternal legendary crests for sure.
Yeah, and previously there was like basically no way for the free to play players to interact with the market, and now there is, which is huge. This is not only huge for free to play, it's also massive for whales and people who spend money in the game, because this will revive the market just a bit. Because a lot of the players are free to play, but you don't see any of their stuff in the market because they can't. So
Yep, exactly. It really stagnates the market and really drives everything to dry up. Like even the whales that are looking for dupes, they just can't get them because there isn't an influx of people running Eternal Crests.
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I mean, does that mostly cover it? Was there anything else we missed in terms of giving context on?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess the one thing that we didn't really talk about is the cosmetic set. In my opinion, it's the worst cosmetic in the game, but I mean, it's okay. We'll have to see the other classes, I guess.
Yeah, cosmetics is what it is. I'm all for it. It's a way for them to earn revenue without,
Yeah.
making anything pay to win.
Yeah. I thought it would be a little bit better, but I'll take it.
Yeah, it's kind of mundane. It's not like the ice set or the blood, set. It's just a little bit more of a mundane. I guess we can't see it in game, but it might be cooler in game. It might have some sort of thing going on. But yeah, I agree with you. It's probably the worst one they've had so far.
Yeah, we'll have to see the other classes too, because all we see is the barb, as far as I know. I don't know if we get to see the other ones, but
Yep. That's definitely a barb with the dual wielding axes. Okay. Yeah, well, I guess that does it for getting you some context on the patch notes. And what would you on the way out? What would you rate it 1 to 10 in terms of the first patch?
I'll give it 2 ratings. One, out of like all mobile games, probably a 7 out of 10 for a patch. And for my expectations, like a 9 out of 10. I've had low expectations, to be fair, but way exceeded my expectations by far.
Yeah, same. I would say overall, I'd give it like a 6.5. But yeah, based on what I thought was gonna happen, I'd say like an 8.5. So yep, same sentiment. We're on the same boat. That'll do it for us on this one. I will link to Veiled Shots channel down below. You definitely want to go subscribe and check out the stuff he's doing. So thanks for joining me, Veiled. Take it easy.
Yeah.